so I can see you all. And you can see me. Well, the last speaker very aptly said, why are we doing it and who are we doing it for? And I think what I would like is to us to reflect on what the world was like at the turn of the millennium. Because it was at that point that change was happening, at least to me personally. I was moving to UCL, being charged to create a Centre for Sustainable Heritage, which was cross-disciplinary, which actually set out to do something different than the individual departments that actually were doing heritage of some shape or form, or actually already doing within UCL. Because there was heritage at UCL and elsewhere before the Centre for Sustainable Heritage, and there will be others teaching and practicing heritage, I'm sure, into the future. So what gap did we see? Well, courses in heritage, and I include conservation as well in this, were becoming more specialised. And yet, my interaction through my previous job at the Museums and Galleries Commission, or actually I spent about 11 years at the start of the HLF being an advisor on HLF projects. The issues that I was facing was with project teams that had never ever spoken to each other until they had actually met to conceive these projects. And out of that came the burning desire to create something that actually taught people how to be cross-disciplinary, of the value of being a specialist in your own right and becoming better at your job simply through exposure to other disciplines and other professions. And that is what I was tasked to do when I went to UCL. And it seemed that having looked at the courses that existed then, there were many excellent courses that were specialist courses. But there wasn't one that turned specialists into generalists, that went in the opposite direction, that actually made people feel comfortable about having skills that they knew something about, could ask the questions, maybe couldn't do them in great depth, but actually knew somebody who they could work with, and that together they could do something better than doing it on their own. And that is why the MSc in Sustainable Heritage came about. Of course we consulted, and that kind of affirmed to us that there was a need for a course that brought different people with different experiences and different skills together. And that the theory and the practice needed to work very closely together to get that virtuous circle going, where you learn from practice and you put theory into practice at the same time. So today's success, I think, reflects the close relationships that have developed between our students, our alumni, and our teachers through that, what I think is that most magical and dynamic process of teaching and learning. And the teaching and learning goes in both directions. It isn't unidirectional, because we learn as much as we teach, because our students are also experienced professionals in their own right very often. We're fortunate that as a result of our extensive network of sustaining partners, we can develop projects with our students that not only have a strong pedagogical basis, but also a very strong practical one. Discussions on the future sustainability of cultural heritage have been mirrored in the last year or so in our discussions on the future and growth of what many of you know as the Centre for Sustainable Heritage, but which is now the UCL Institute for Sustainable Heritage. So why this change of name, and what does it mean for the future? What difference does it make? It has meant, firstly, recognition of the team that makes up the Institute. In UCL terms, when you have a centre, it's built around an individual. So I went to UCL. If I left UCL in a very short period of time, that centre could disappear. But once a team was established, then it reflected the fact that no one individual is indispensable, that people can move on, and that the idea can continue. And UCL recognised that in the Institute's Deputy Director, Mattia, who's here, where is he? I hope he's in this room. He is not, but he was until a minute ago. Calliope, who I know is here, and Catherine. And on the 1st of April, we will be joined by a new lecturer, who I can announce is Joseph Brau-Bove, who's here. Yay! At least. Raise your hand again, Joseph. So he will be joining us as our new team member. So now both the MSc course and the more recent MRes, Masters in Research in Science and Engineering in Arts, Heritage and Archaeology, will now have 2 dedicated teachers each. We expect our research and our student numbers to continue to grow, building on our success in leading, first of all, the National Science and Heritage Research Programme for the last 7 years, and now the new Centre for Doctoral Training in Science and Engineering in Arts, Heritage and Archaeology for the next 7 years. Hence the second poster. And we have at the back Selina, who is the manager of the Centre for Doctoral Training. There's Selina. And thank you for all your help today, Selina. Now this will give our new institute the opportunity to integrate teaching with cutting-edge research even more closely, thus helping us to deliver one of the key objectives of UCL's 2034 strategy, which is that closer connection between teaching and research. I think the MSc is right to be proud of its achievements, which have been well demonstrated today through the success of our alumni. And we can't claim credit for all the wonderful work that they're doing today, but we hope that we at least put them on the right path to achieving greatness. And to help us start this second decade of this, what I would like to call progressive and compelling master's course, I would like to invite Paul Bloxham from Ecclesiastical Insurance to say a few words. Paul.